Welcome back to the Unfiltered Podcast, brought to you by the Elite Service Group. Today we have 10 very simple questions. Stay tuned and listen up because these are for the homeowner and the homeowner only. Question number 1. Why do so many HVAC systems fail years before they should? Guys, a lot of the times this has to do with not doing your maintenance. Especially this time of year, we're approaching spring, and it is very important to call your technician or your trade professional to get in and do your services. This improves longevity by years. Okay, so it is very important. Remember, do your maintenances. Question number 2. What is the biggest mistake homeowners make when replacing their system? A lot of times, guys, homeowners go into these things with not the strongest budget. What I do recommend is evaluate your situation and your system. And if the thing's on its last leg, prepare for a proper budget to replace these systems and put the necessary tools and funding behind these projects so that you can get the best job possible so that these systems will last you for years. It is very, very, very important to go into these larger scale, more pricey projects with a better budget, okay? Because it allows you to get better equipment and a better job at the end of the day. You're giving your technician more time to do his job properly, and basically better budget, better product. Question number 3, how much does airflow really impact comfort and equipment lifespan? Guys, airflow is the most important thing when it comes to comfort, period. You need to have a properly sized duct system in order to properly distribute the air across the home, living space, or even commercial building. Without the proper ductwork, you're putting more strain on your system because it is working harder to move the air through the ducts. So that is why airflow is very important, and it's almost more important than the brand you go with. So I would go ahead and say that ductwork is the most important thing when it comes to air distribution and properly cooling or heating your space. Question number 4, why do some brand new systems underperform from day one? Let's double back to the previous question. A lot of times this has to do with improperly sized ductwork or bad airflow. So if your system is underperforming, you have to look at multiple different factors, including your ductwork. Your ductwork is what moves the air. So if your unit's putting out all this air, but it has nowhere to go, it's not properly doing its job. So a lot of times you will see from day one, these systems not doing the job that they're cut out to do. Question number 5. What separates a true technician from someone who just changes parts? Guys, it comes down to the confidence in the technician. A lot of times, technicians walk around with a lot of confidence. You know they have the knowledge that it takes to get the job done properly. If your technician, has real short answers with you, and it kind of seems like everything's open-ended at the end of the day, and you're not getting straight answers, you just get that feeling that something's off, typically, they're a parts changer at the end of the day. They guesstimate. There's no facts involved in the diagnosis, and that is really what separates part changers from real, true, knowledgeable technicians. It is very important to go with the right company to take care of your system, because if they're not trained and they don't know what they're doing, they're really just in there kicking tire at the end of the day. It's kind of like when you go to a used car lot and a guy shows up with no money and honestly no motive to buy a car, and he's just looking around, going on test drives. At the end of the day, he's not buying anything. It's very important to go with the right company that provides properly trained technicians to diagnose your systems and to fix them. It's going to be cheaper because you're not dealing with somebody who, it might be this part. Oh, it might be that part. No. If your technician's not like, listen, this is the problem. This is what you're dealing with. In order to fix it, we need to replace this piece critically, or the system will not work properly. So I would go ahead and say, go with the right company and have some faith in some of these technicians, okay? That's what separates technicians from parts changers. Question number 6, how is modern HVAC technology raising the skill requirements in the trade? Modern technology is very complicated. These systems communicate their variable speed, they modulate. These pieces of equipment think for themselves at this point. So if your technician is not up to speed with all this new technology coming out, there might be things that are overlooked because they are not properly educated when it comes to these new pieces of equipment. That's why it's very important to get training. I press this heavily in the slow season. We do training, we talk shop, we talk HVAC, we talk new technology in the field. We are out there to educate ourselves to get better with every single day. And in return, we get knowledge. We get knowledge when it comes to the space, new up and coming equipment. That's why we go to all these trade shows and stuff. We have a great time while we're there, but the main objective is to get educated in the field and what is up and coming, because we are the future of this space. I think it's very important to go out to trade shows, check out the new equipment, invest in yourself, your education, and take pride in what you're doing for a living. Because at the end of the day, it is very, very important to keep up with new technology in this space. Question number 7. What should homeowners prioritize more, brand name or installation quality? I'll put it to you like this. It's very important that the installer knows what they're doing. Because I don't care if you got a top of the line, very expensive piece of equipment. If it's not put in properly, it's not going to perform properly. So I'm going to go ahead and say that install quality surpasses brand name any day of the week. You could put a bottom sear piece of equipment in and rate it a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect install. It's going to perform way better and probably be more efficient than a higher end, nicer brand name piece of equipment, just because it is performing properly. So I personally think that install quality is way more important than brand name or level of equipment that you choose or purchase. So that's why it's very important to pick the right guy to install this very expensive piece of equipment for you. Don't always go with the cheaper guy, because at the end of the day, most times it's not cheaper. You have to pay for somebody to come back, fix the mess up that the prior technician has caused. So I would go ahead and say that installation quality is the most important thing when it comes to installing a new piece of equipment. Question number 8, how can customers protect themselves from poor workmanship? I do have to say this. I'm going to double back. Question number 2, build the proper budget for these projects. Most of the time, customers, it's always an emergency. It's always on the hottest day of the year. They've never seen it coming. Most of the time, that's not the case. That's why I'm making these videos, is so that you, the customer, are properly educated when it comes to your heating and air conditioning system in your house. Because at the end of the day, it's one of the more expensive fixes in your home. Without heating or air conditioning, you can't even really live. So I would go ahead and say, build the proper budget for these projects. It is very, very, very important you have the budget to get the job done properly by the right technician. So I'd go ahead and say the most important thing is the proper budget for these projects. Do some research yourself. Understand what the price points of these projects look like. If your system, like I'm saying, is 20 years old and you never got maintenance, probably the up and coming summer when it's 110 degrees out, that little system isn't going to be able to do what it's supposed to do. So look ahead, be preventative, and build the proper budget to get these projects done properly. Question number 9, what trends in HVAC worry you the most right now? I see a lot of times companies are adopting younger technicians that really don't know anything, and they're kind of just sending them out on their own before they're even prepared for it. So I would go ahead and say, just look out, make sure that, the guy who's servicing your equipment is knowledgeable. He's been in the field. Ask the question, how long you been doing this? Get to know your technician. These guys are very personable most of the time. So I would go ahead and say, make sure your technicians have the proper training that it takes to fix your system. Because I do see it trending where, you need help, and at some points, you'll take anybody. So I would go ahead and say, make sure that your technician is properly trained and has been doing this for some time before you make that investment. That's what's trending right now, and I really don't like it. Question number 10, and our final question. What does the HVAC industry need to improve over the next decade? I'm going to bring this all back and circle back out of this whole thing, what I've been preaching the whole entire time. Over the next 10 years, I want to see more training. I want to see trade colleges being pushed more trade schools. I need to see young men learning how to use their hands in this field and actually figure out how equipment works and become more mechanically minded. At the end of the day, for the next decade, I would love to see technicians growing beyond belief and innovating the industry with every single day. That's what I would love to see over the next decade. So guys, take some of this information, do your own research. It was a pleasure being back with you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you're hearing. I'm trying to do this and educate you guys. I'm doing this for you. So please take every little bit of free information you can get when it comes to making these very expensive decisions. Like, comment, and subscribe. Support us. Support me. I love doing this for you. Thank you guys. We'll catch you next week with another episode of the Unfiltered Podcast brought to you by the Elite Service Group. Thank you.